I'm going to start with the questions and then give a little talk about some more about meditation. So, here we go, having a nice lunch. During meditation, I see multiple coloured objects and then dark green and bluish colours. Am I on the right path? It doesn't really depend on what you see, but how you react to it. If that's beautiful, it's really, really deep colours, then that's really good. So, you can see whatever you like, but make sure you have this beautiful sense of being at peace with it. Not wanting anything, and just enjoying what you see. Delight in those colours, be at peace with them, then it develops. That's okay. If they get very, very bright and very beautiful, that's really good. Ajahn Brahm, you mentioned control freak yesterday. And the day before, and the day before that, and today. When one's wife or husband is a control freak, making all the decisions for the family, how can a silent mind help? This is how to influence control freaks. Because when I first went to Australia, I was number 2 monk. And the head monk was a bit of a control freak, but I had him totally in my power, without him knowing. Because as a Buddhist monk, you know psychology. So the story was, we were building a monastery, and I once said to him, why don't we build a hut on the hill over there? And he said, that's a stupid idea, that's ridiculous, it will not work. I knew enough about psychology. I said, okay, I knew enough about psychology just to take it no further, to stop. Because I know that everything you say gets registered in the mind, in the subconscious. So I never argued. I dropped it because it's really important that he never realized what I was up to. 2 weeks later, when I'm sure he'd forgotten about the conversation, if I'd argued, he wouldn't have forgotten about it. I would say again, why did we build a hut on the hill over there? Again, he would say, that's a stupid idea, it won't work, ridiculous. And I said, okay, I wouldn't argue with him. I put the seed into his mind, I reinforced it 2 weeks later, and I'd only need to do this maybe one more time, sometimes twice was enough. And I'd be walking with him one day, and he said, I just thought, why don't we build a hut on the hill there? And I would say to him, wow, I think that might work. That's a really great idea of yours. Because people in charge, they want it to be their idea. That's really important for them. I don't care whose idea it is, I know it's my idea. I just put it into him, reinforced it, maybe reinforced it again. And because it worked in his subconscious without him realizing it, he thought it was his idea. And that's why we did it. So, say that you ask your husband, I need a new dress. You've got enough dresses, you've got a wardrobe full of dresses, what do you need another dress for? Oh, you're right, husband. Shut up, don't argue. See this got in there. 2 weeks later, I think I need a new dress. No, we can't afford it. Oh, yeah, you're right. Shut up. And you'd be surprised how well this works. Another 2 weeks' time, you say, darling, he says to you, I think you need a new dress. Ah, you're so considerate, thinking about that all by yourself. That's how it works. If it's a good idea, it will go through the subconscious, and they will see it's a good idea. And they will think it's their own, and they have to own the idea. Actually, I don't care whose idea it is. As long as it gets done well, fine by me. As long as you get a new dress, who cares whether your husband thinks it's his idea or not? Let him believe that, you get the dress. That is how to deal with control freaks. Monks are really sneaky. You know how to get underneath your radar. So that's how you work with control freaks. And even if sometimes your children, you tell them something, and you're watching doing computer games too much. Leave me alone, Mum. You think they don't listen to you when they're teenagers? They do listen to you, they just do not admit it. They think about it afterwards, so don't push them. You made the suggestion to them, they'll think about it. Maybe later on you can reinforce it. Too much computers, not enough study. They'll think about it, and they'll probably do something about it. But don't keep pushing them, otherwise they'll get very rebellious. Why? 11 questions! Oh, come on, be kind to me. What and why are we judgmental? Because you've got an ego, that's why you judge. If you don't let go of your ego, how can you judge? Who is better, the girls or the boys? When you've got an ego, you're a girl, the girls. When you've got an ego, the boy, now boys are much better. It's just all about sense of self and egos. When we have a sense of self, we have hierarchies. When we have hierarchies, we always have this better and worse. That's why the Sangha for monks, we don't know who's better and who's worse. If you see my robe, 40 years as a monk now, you don't have like stripes on your shoulder here, or pips, this is a captain, this is a major, this is a general. You all wear the same robes. So we don't try not to judge. You don't know who is enlightened and who is not. That's why we don't judge. Have I ever judged any of you? When I told any of you, you're a hopeless meditator, or you're a great meditator, I just say each one of you is just a beautiful tree in the forest. No two of you are the same. You will never be the same. That's what makes life beautiful. That's not judging, that's respecting. Where do we start in war? Not starting one. That's where you start. So don't start with referendum. And respecting one another is good. Why do temptations exist? Do they exist, or do we create them? I think we create them because we want to have something to do. Who is responsible for the world created this way? You are. The only thing is somebody else's problem. It's your problem. You create it, and you see it this way, not the other way. If it's somebody else's problem, it'll never be solved. If you realise that you can do something by being more peaceful, more kind, more compassionate, at least you can end the war inside your own head by making peace with yourself. That's a good start. Why us humans can't seem to get along with each other? I can get along with you. So some people get along. It's again because, of self-interest. I got all the money, you can't have any. I got all the food, I'm not sharing. I got all the power, not for you. It's all the self-interest. But we have no self, we have no self-interest. Therefore, we can actually work with one another. How to achieve unity if there is different religions? There's only one religion, religion of truth. Who owns the truth? Who owns the air? When you go to Australia, do you have to pay a tax for breathing the air in Australia? Do I have to pay a tax? Because I don't belong to Malaysia. I'm visiting, I'm breathing all your oxygen. Should I pay a tax for breathing your oxygen? The air is free for everybody, like the truth. It's free for everybody. No one can own it, just like you cannot own the air. What's after death? Is it real? When you die, you'll find out. Why are there so many religions when all says to do good and leave out the bad? Because people think too much. That's why they have more religions. We think we make a new religion. We try and bring all the religions together, and that becomes another religion. So just leave them alone. What's the purpose of life? The purpose of life is being so peaceful you never ask so many questions ever again. Why do we often compare ourselves with others? Others don't compare themselves to you. It's only you who compare yourself with others. How do you know what others do? What is being peaceful in their relationship? It's like loving everybody who comes in front of your eyes. The one in front of you is always the most important person. The only thing you have to do is careful. In our daily stressful or routine life, what would be Ajahns' recommendation on the length and time for meditation practice daily? Also, what is the most suitable time for meditation? The most suitable time for meditation is always now, whenever that time happens to be. And a rule of thumb is look every day how long you spend eating, and those many minutes you spend meditating. It's easy, you can always find time to eat, find time to meditate. My mother has advanced Alzheimer's disease. I just wanted to know if this has any effect or impediment on her passing on her next life. Thanks for all your teachings. It is actually an interesting part of people who look after those with Alzheimer's. Just before they die, they become clear, they can remember things. Strange. But in the last few minutes or seconds, they basically wake up after Alzheimer's. And if you're lucky enough to be by the bedside, they haven't remembered who you are for a couple of years. Say, oh, where have you been? No, daughter. Thank you for visiting me, and then they die. But it's interesting because it means the last moments of life are actually free from the disease. It's their mind separated from their brain. Alzheimer's is a disease of the brain. But once you get past the brain, go to the mind, no Alzheimer's. They remember everything. So it's only like going to sleep for a couple of years. And just before they die, it's like waking up, and all the good karma, all the characteristics from the past are back there again. The Ajahn Brahm, do you have psychic power? I knew someone was going to ask that question. During walking meditation, suddenly aware of only movements, not the legs moving or the body moving. That's fine. During sitting meditation, after some time, mind like blank, no thoughts, but awareness is there. The awareness is there, very peaceful. What to do next? Don't do anything next. There is no next, it's only now. So when there's no next, there's nothing to do. What's the problem? So whenever in meditation you think, what should I do next? You've misunderstood meditation. There is no next, it's only just now. What are you doing now? Just being aware, being kind, that's all. It's a simple thing to do. Be aware and be kind to whatever's happening now. And then next come when it comes. How do I silence my mind when my mind is always talking to myself? The mind is so active, it's so difficult to silence it. Get alone involved and put it into your head and say, shut up or I shoot. No, don't do that. It is look for the space between the thoughts. If you really are having a lot of difficulty silencing the mind, you may try this method. How many of you know the Tibetan mantra Om Mani Padme Hum? Heard that before? Yes. How many know what it means? Know what it means? Because if you know what it means, this doesn't work. If you don't know what it means, then this works for you. So, you close your eyes and you recite to yourself, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, for about 1 minute. And then for the next minute, you put a space between the words. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani. Just a short space of silence. And if thoughts come in those spaces, close them up again. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. If no thoughts come in, open up the spaces longer. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om. And extend the spaces very slowly. If thoughts come in, close the spaces up. And as you become more rested, more still, you can expand the spaces longer and longer. Om Mani Padme. A thought comes up, close it. Om Mani. And that way you can adjust this little technique actually to squash out all thoughts. If a The thought comes, you close it up. And little by little, you can extend the space between the syllables so much. And you've got far more silence in the mind than you've got the Oms or the Padmis. That's a very nice little exercise to learn how to be still, to be aware without any thoughts going on in the mind. Do you understand that? I said it in brief, but it's pretty simple. If you don't like what many Padmis, you can have like Namo Tassa Bhagavato, Namo Tassa Bhagavato. Just put spaces between words. Oh, the visualization. Can you do visualization when you meditate? Yes, you can, but visualize something very peaceful. Don't visualize Angelina Jolie. Don't visualize Justin Bieber or whoever you really like. So visualize something nice and peaceful. So that's okay. Why, after listening to so many Dhamma talks, I still shed tears because missing my loved one every now and then. How long does it take for one to let go of a person? It's when you realize you're only crying for yourself, you're not crying for the loved one. Loved one's happy, open some heaven realm somewhere. What are you crying for? They're having a good time. You're so selfish, you want them to come back. And they're just enjoying themselves. Why do they want to come and visit you for? They're having a wonderful time. So, it's only because sometimes we've been conditioned to think when a person dies we should be sad. We realise that just like the two bad bricks in the wall, when somebody dies, we're always focusing on what's been taken away from us. We've never been focusing on what we had. All those wonderful years you've had with your loved one. You're so blessed, you're so lucky to have all those years with them. Why are you crying? You're so lucky. Have that beautiful child, that wonderful parent, even mummy and partner style. Thank you so much for being with me for those times. We had a lovely time together. So you don't miss them. You feel so grateful you had all that time with them. Thank you so much. Change perception. Don't see what's been taken away. See what you've had. How does self-talk fit into meditation? Don't do self-talk, do no self-talk. No one in here. But no one in here, shut up. In other words, the self-talk is always talking to yourself, judging yourself. Good, Ajahn Brahm, that's a very good talk, that's a wonderful talk. Oh, stupid Ajahn Brahm, you said the wrong thing again. You know, I said the shit word this morning, oops, I said it again now. All that self-talk is a waste of time. So just say, shh. Until you're silent inside. It doesn't fit into meditation at all, usually. Yesterday, you taught us to feel the delightfulness when the body and mind is at peace. But instead of, after a very short period of delightfulness, I felt boring. Can you please advise what I should do? Imagine you go onto a resort for holiday. Where is the most amazing resort? Maybe Cable Beach in Broome. Maybe in the Maldive Islands. Maybe in Bermuda. And you can imagine your own private resort. And your private beach, and you've got nothing to do except just watch the waves roll in and roll out from the ocean. A beautiful warm breeze blowing over the ocean. A nice little table with chilled coconut water right next to you. And people waiting on you hand and foot. Would you like that? Or would you be bored? I'm bored, nothing is happening. The same waves come in, the same waves go out. Coconut water, I've had enough of that. Same old breeze, can't we have some rain for a change? Boredom is wanting something else and not appreciating what you already have. It's amazing. Sometimes people get bored with their partner because they forgot to appreciate them. see all the wonderful qualities. When you appreciate what you have, and the freedom you have, you never get bored. Got nothing to do. I've been waiting for weeks to have nothing to do, to have a rest. Can you appreciate having nothing to do? Sometimes people tell me this, they get bored at home, there's nothing on the TV, even though they've got Foxtel and got 200 channels. 200 channels, and you can't find something to do. You've got a refrigerator, there's nothing to eat, and it's packed. Food is falling out of the refrigerator, there's nothing to eat. There's plenty to eat, there's plenty to do, but we want something more, we want what we haven't got. That's called boredom. So if you lessen your wants and increase your sense of appreciation and gratitude, then you're not bored anymore. So sometimes I go into hotel rooms and there are TVs there. I watch the TV. Yes, I admit I look at the TV. But I don't turn it on. It's so peaceful when you don't turn it on. You don't get excited. It's so still and calm. And if you look very closely, you can see a reflection of who you are. That's deep. What do you get bored for? Crikey, this is wonderful having nothing to do. How many of you complain about being stressed out? I've got too much work to do, I always have to do this and do that. Now when you've got nothing to do, you can't appreciate it. You're crazy people. Anyway, I'd really like to thank you for giving the simile of having a coffee with the mind and realise how control-free am I, and some idea to be kind, building a good relationship with my monkey mind. Thank you. I like monkeys. I'm very close to monkeys. It's only 2 letters separate me from a monkey, an E and a Y. I have an affinity. So don't have a monkey mind, have a monk mind. There you have it. What is Buddhist stance towards environmental issues and towards politics? Yeah, of course, we'll be compassionate to this world as well. So, one of the biggest problems for the environment is that too many people, global population growth, which means we have to have more resources consumed, more water, more food, global population. So as a monk, I am doing my bit for reducing the population. Not having any kids. And towards politics. Politics is there, so we have politicians. Can we do it better? And one thing with politicians, please support politicians, don't criticise them so much. It's such a hard thing to make decisions, and politicians, they can't please everybody. But one thing with politicians, in all over the world, in democracies, we always elect them on what they promise to do for us. And they always break the promises. Do politicians break promises in Malaysia? Do they break promises in Australia? Do they break promises in England, United States? Of course they do. Because how can you make a promise when the world situation changes so quickly? You don't know what the economy is going to be like in 6 months' time. You don't know what the geopolitical situation is going to be in a year's time. How on earth can we make promises? I never blame a politician for breaking a promise. I blame them for making promises in the first place. And, as somebody pointed out, if you are going to elect a CEO for a company, or even a manager for a part of a company, do you select them on what they promised to do, or do you select them on their past record? The past record. So we should not elect politicians on what they promise to do in the future. We should elect them on their proven ability in the past. Forget about promises. See how they performed in the past, whether it's in business, whether it's in management, whether it's community service or whatever. And if they've got a good record, then elect them. Tell them, no, we don't want promises for the future. Because you can't promise for the future. You don't know what might happen. You want to make sure that you are competent, you are not corrupt, you find that out from the record of their past. Future is uncertain, the Buddha kept on saying. How can you actually predict what's going to happen? But we can certainly see how a person's behaved in the past. That is how we should be electing politicians. Now we get a much better group of politicians. The ones who are competent, rather than the ones who can lie convincingly. May I know the way to deal with human talking during meditation, whatever noise I can have except human talking, because I tend to be interested, curious, and suck into conversations, the wordings, and not like other sound, which I feel got no meaning, just sound noise, and I feel neutral to it. The reason why people are interested in talking is because we always think that they're talking about us. They're talking about me. They're not talking about you. You're insignificant. You don't matter. Isn't that wonderful to be insignificant, no matter? So you can sit there totally peaceful and free. But if you do this, and you can do a little bit of research, listen to conversations of other people, and ask for maybe 3 minutes, is that rubbish or is that important? Is that really important Dhamma, or is it just yak, yak, yak? You'll find people, they yak, yak, yak. Most of what they're talking about is rubbish. Because it's rubbish, don't have anything to do with it. So you can do that 3 or 4 times, you realise what most people talk about, is just about all sorts of rubbish stuff. So it means you don't have to listen to it. Except when Ajahn Brahm is talking, because Ajahn Brahm used to talk rubbish. That's really interesting. Sometimes. How can meditation help people who are diagnosed with cancer, undergoing treatment, terminally ill? There's many people in cancer institutes, they teach meditation because meditation has huge benefits for cancer treatment. When I go back next Saturday, there's a new cancer campus in Perth opening up. And the Premier, the head of Western Australia, is going there, and Ajahn Brahm is going there too, to open it. No Christian priests, no Muslims, no rabbis, just Ajahn Brahm. The reason is because meditation helps so much. They want a meditation teacher to be there to actually open the centre. Meditation is huge for cancer, for the treatment, and even if you're terminally ill. You're all terminally ill. Someone once said, life. What is life? Life is a sexually transmitted terminal disease. It's really profound. It is a sexually transmitted terminal disease. Life. This is a question from my wife. It is a question from your wife. What does your wife ask you? She's really got you chained by the nose, hasn't she? This is a question from your wife. My husband always makes me angry. He only meets 50% of my expectations. My husband behaves idiotically and always gives excuses to cover his mistakes. Sometimes there are reasons, but she still defines it as excuses. That was acted by the husband. Oh, look, come on. He is 70% okay, and you are 70% okay. If you multiply 70% by 70%, you get 50%. But that's why you only need 50% of your expectations. He is 70% correct, you are 70% correct, so that's your expectations will always add up to 50%. That's not bad, 50%. That's good enough. And if you get another husband, whoever wrote this, he will probably only 40%. So stick to the one you have. Because husbands, they are all the same. I already mentioned yesterday, wives are the same. The same engine, different chassis. You ask people who've been married a couple of times, 3 times or 4 times, that's what they say. Men, they're all the same. Women, all the same. They are. They're just human beings. 50% is good enough. So why does it make you angry? Because you focus on the 50% which is wrong. Focus on the 50% which is right. And if you focus on the 50% which is right, which is lovable, which is adorable, then you'll be happy. And you'll find what you focus on is what the person shows you. If you focus on their faults, they show you more faults. If you focus on their wonderful part, they show you more of their wonderful part. That's how I taught prisoners in prison. All those years I went into prison to teach, I never saw a criminal. I never saw a murderer, never saw a thief, never saw a rapist. I saw people who'd done those things. I saw a person who'd killed people. I saw a person who'd stolen. I saw a person who'd raped. They weren't rapists. They were a person who'd raped. And I looked at that wonderful part of them. Not the terrible part, which is that terrible crime. The other part of it. When I saw that in this person who murdered, they saw it in themselves. And that part grew and grew and grew. So when they were released from jail, they never did that crime again. They never thought themselves as a murderer anymore. They were a person who made a mistake. If you water the flowers grow. Water the weeds grow. So when you look at your husband, if you keep seeing his faults, you are making those faults grow and get bigger. Why? It's your fault. If you look at the beautiful part of your husband, the kind part, the lovable part, you keep looking at that and he will show you more of his good side. And that side will grow. So please, don't water the weeds, water the flowers. And that's very powerful. I keep on repeating this because it's one of the great stories. I went to give a keynote speech at, I think it was the 100th anniversary or the 50th anniversary of the Institute of Mental Health in Singapore. After my talk, I mentioned a prisoner metaphor. This fellow came up, he was the head, the professor of the schizophrenia unit in Singapore. This big mental health campus which dealt with everybody who suffered schizophrenia and also had people from other countries come in. And I asked him, how do you treat schizophrenia? And he smiled and said, just as you said in your talk, I don't treat schizophrenia, I treat the other part of the patient. And I was so impressed that someone had understood. I actually worshipped him. And I said, what are the results? He said, it's so much better than conventional treatments. Don't focus on the illness, focus on the other parts. The part of that patient where they don't exhibit symptoms of schizophrenia. And great results. You're watering the flowers, the nice part that grows in the weeds, the schizophrenic tendencies get less and less. Your husband, you're watering the weeds by focusing on the part which you don't like. Focus on the beautiful part of it, the kind part of it. Don't treat his faults. Treat all the beautiful parts which you respect and care for, and that will grow. And that's exactly what you do to yourself as well. Those of you who have problems, lack of self-esteem, you don't like yourself, you're depressed, please focus on the other part of you, which you admire and respect, which other people admire and respect. Water the flowers inside yourself. They choke the weeds, the weeds have got no place to go anymore. You become a very wonderful person. What you focus on is what grows. What you pay attention to in others, they show you more of that. So if you want to change your husband, stop looking at the 50% where he doesn't meet your expectations. look at the 50% where he does meet your expectations, and that number will grow. How does one achieve self-realization and change one's attitude for the better? Just told you. P.S. Listen to your CDs and attend Dharma classes every Sunday. As I follow the 5 precepts very closely, try my best to be a good hubby. You are a good hubby. But I say this from the heart because I see you people, and you really are very, very good, kind, wonderful people. Every one of you in this room, without exception. Whoever wrote that is a beautiful man. But the trouble is, we get these bad habits of seeing each other's faults, seeing our own faults. For me, I only see your beautiful part. I did my 2 bad bricks, and I don't do that again. I always say the 998 good bricks in a person. And you've got more than plenty of good bricks because you have all been reborn in the human realm. This is a very high realm to get reincarnated into. We don't allow bad people in this realm, for the most part. If you are a bad person, you'll never come to a temple and spend the weekend with me. So everyone in this room is of a very high quality. I can see that. So why you can't see that in yourself just mystifies me. And when you've got this person you're married to, you're committed to, why you can't see the good parts when I can see them? And so often people come and they've got marriage problems. So why have you got marriage problems? You're just an incredibly beautiful, wonderful, kind, skillful girl. And you're just an incredible man. You're not perfect, but you're incredibly good. Why on earth can't you get on together? I would love you to be my friend. I would love you to be my friend. I'm thankful. I'm very, very grateful you're my disciple. Why can't we live together? Why can't you see in each other what I see in you? Then you can be friends. Then you can be lovers. And you can be this wonderful couple that live together until they get so old and they inspire other people. You're not the same. You have differences, but you're in harmony together because you respect each other. You respect each other because you see in other people things which you can respect. Talking this morning about bowing to the Buddha, first I bowed to virtue, then to peace, then to compassion. I was invited to give a talk at a prominent Christian school because the chaplain there was a good friend of mine. He's an Anglican, I'm a Buddhist, but I make friends all over the place. And he invited to give a talk at the morning assembly. It's a very prominent school, probably one of the best schools in Western Australia. And they had all of the students sit, it's an all-boys school. They sit in the big hall, first of all. And we were waiting outside with the headmaster, the chaplain and myself, for all the children to settle down before we made our entrance, and then I give my talk. And the headmaster turned to me and said, this is a Christian school, so when the chaplain and I go in, there's a little shrine to Jesus, and we make a small bow. But you're a Buddhist, you don't have to bow. I looked at the headmaster, because I'm very cheeky sometimes. Actually not sometimes, most of the time. And I looked at the headmaster and said, I demand my right to bow to your Jesus. I did it over the top because what? And then I explained, I can see Jesus in the Prophet Muhammad, in whatever. I can always see something I can respect. And I'm going to bow to that. Now, I'm not a Christian, I can always see something in your religion which I can respect. And that's what I'm going to bow to. So we went in there and the 3 of us bowed to the statue of Jesus. And around 1 month or 2 months later, the headmaster came to visit our monastery, a very devout Christian, and he bowed 3 times to the Buddha statue. It was very beautiful to see that. So it's easy for me to bow. I'm a Christian. Bow to the Buddha doesn't mean I'm a Buddhist, but I can see something in your religion which I respect too. Therefore I bow. And that is how to have harmony and peace. So you may not agree with your husband. You can see something to bow to. Something to respect. That's what you focus on. And then you can live in harmony with the person you're committed to. Every morning you wake up with panic attack and fear, anxiety, discomfort. Already on medication, what's your advice, Ajahn Brahm? During an attack, difficult to meditate, stay calm. But if it's every morning you wake up, go to sleep during the day, stay awake at night. You wake up with panic attack. This is how to overcome panic attacks with mindfulness. I told this story before, but I'm not sure I get through all the bullshit. But anyway, for panic attacks, there was this girl in Adelaide University who had such severe anxiety and panic attacks she could not even get out of bed. She was bedridden. Even though she had free medical care, free psychologists, no one could fix her up. Bedridden. She had a boyfriend, a living boyfriend, who did everything for her. Washed her clothes, cooked for her, helped her bathe because she was totally paralyzed with her anxiety attacks. Medication didn't work. She was so fortunate that her uncle was a disciple of mine. So her uncle said, go and give Ajahn Brahm a call. So one evening she called me from her bed. She couldn't get out of bed. Said what her problem was. And I fixed her up very quickly. This is how I fixed her. I said, when you have a panic attack, where do you feel it on your body? On my body, it's in my mind. But every emotion has a corresponding feeling on your body. You feel it somewhere in your body. I want you to give me a call in 3 days' time, or whenever you can tell me where you feel it in your body. 3 days' time, she called me and said, I feel it in my chest. Where in your chest? Locate it accurately. Give me a call in another couple of days and you can tell me exactly where it is. So she gave a call in another couple of days. It's just below sort of my breast, to the right a little bit. I forget what she said. She located it. What does it feel like? Describe it to me. It's just tense. That's not good enough. I want a full description. Give me a call in a few days' time and you can describe to me completely. Now the whole purpose of this, I wanted her to be aware, to be mindful of the feeling. She had to really watch that, to become so clear on that feeling that she could describe it to me, who was a stranger, exactly how she felt. And I was impressed. In the next couple of days she called, she gave this really long description of the feelings in her chest when she had a panic attack. Whereas, okay, you're mindful of those feelings. Now, said, next time you have a panic attack, put your hand on that area and massage it with as much kindness as you can. If you can't do that, get your boyfriend to do it. That's what boyfriends are there for. With as much kindness and softness and care as you possibly can. Then give me a call in a couple of days once you've done that. And she did that. And then she gave me a call, she said, I did what you said. I said, what happened to the physical feeling when you massaged it kindly? I said, oh, the physical tightness, it went away. Then I said, what happened to the panic attack when you did that? And to this day, I always remember the pause. She went silent for about 30 seconds. The light bulb went on in her head. Said, when the physical feeling went, so did the panic attack. Great, now you know how to deal with it. Never needed to call her back again. Within a few weeks, she was out of hospital, out of bed, back to lectures. She got a first class honours in dentistry, and that boyfriend, Lloyd, she married him, and I did a ceremony for her. A really beautiful, happy ending, and I am their monk. I saved her life. Got her out of bed. I've told that story many times. About a year ago, one of the doctors who comes to our Friday night talks in Perth said she had a patient who had such great anxiety, she was hospitalized, had to have oxygen all the time because she had such anxiety she couldn't breathe. And the doctor said she went through the whole list of medications for anxiety disorder. Just the medications from the pharmacy. One after another, she got to the last one, and it didn't work. What do I do now? So it was late in the afternoon, and she decided, I might as well try, nothing to lose, Ajahn Brahm's method. Told her, next time you have anxiety, feel it in the body, massage the area, see what happens. When she went to work the next morning, the patient had the oxygen mask off. I can breathe now, no more panic attacks, can I go home? I really scolded that doctor. Why didn't you tell her to do that at the first instead of waiting to the last? She could have left much earlier. It works. Every emotion, whether it's anger, whether it's love, whether it's fear, whether it's anxiety, has a corresponding feeling in the body. And those feelings are different for every emotion. When we get mindful, aware of the feeling, we know exactly what anxiety is and how it appears in our body. And how it appeared for you is not how it appeared for somebody else. You have to find it yourself, locate it, know it so you can explain it to a stranger. You've established mindfulness, now give it kindness. Ah, there you go. Okay? Okay down there? You're so kind, and the tightness in the body disappears. When the tightness in the body vanishes, so does the emotion. Such an easy way without chemicals to overcome anxiety. So you try that, and I'll ask that question. When you wake up tomorrow morning, you have anxiety, please get to know your body, where it feels. And massage it. So the feeling in the body corresponding to your panic attack or anxiety vanishes. Then so does your anxiety. So much cheaper than going to a doctor. You come here on the weekend, wow, you learn so much, you save so much money. I have a friend in his 70s. His son died in his 20s, about 15 years ago. He has suffered severe depression. He is feeling better now, but once in a while he will still feel depressed. He told me that during meditation, whenever thought arises about his son's death, he would stop the thought from arising. He cast the thoughts aside. Sometimes my friend looks happy, and at times he looks moody and dark. It's a solution to help him. But why is it that people think that when their son is dead, he's not happy? The son is probably in some heaven realm, having a wonderful time. Aren't you happy that he's happy? So really, people just don't understand death. If you only knew what happened to people after they died, it's like saying, oh, my son was in prison for 20 years, and now he's been released and I have to stay in prison, and I feel so sad that my son is not in prison anymore. Wouldn't it be a crazy thing to say? This world is a prison. We've got this body which is always aching and sore, wants to go to the toilet, and wants to have a glass of water, wants something to eat, need to blow its nose, need to scratch its bottom. Oh, this is a prison. That gives you a moment's peace. Now your son is free. You're still in prison. So you shouldn't feel sad that your son has died. Your son is free. Now my mother died 3 years ago. And when she died, because I'm well known, people found out and said, I'm terribly sorry to hear the news about your mother dying, Ajahn Brahm. Oh, are you okay, Ajahn Brahm? I said, what do you mean? I said, I'm happy my mother had died. What? Did you love your mother? I did love my mother, that's why I'm happy she is dying. She had Alzheimer's for the last 2 or 3 years of her life. She was in the prison of forgetfulness. Now she's free. That made me so happy. And now she was free. I just look at life in a different way, in a much more informed way. So when an old person dies, I'm so happy for them. They're free of this old body, which is always aching, which you can't do the things you used to do. And you're so limited when you get old. And now they've died. Wow, I know they're free now. Make me feel so happy. The only time I feel sad when somebody dies is when they haven't used the opportunity of a human life well. They've been selfish, angry, They've been rich, but they haven't shared their wealth with charity. They've been angry and selfish rather than loving people and caring for them. I get sad then, because I thought, what a waste of a life. I don't care whether they be young, middle-aged or old. If they've been really kind, good people, you hear how good they've been. Because people come to their funeral. They say, that was my father, he's a lovely man. Just I was so happy to have him there. He was so kind, he worked so hard for his family. That makes me happy. A good life, well done. So that's how I look at life and death. A good person lived a good life, well done. I feel like standing up and applauding them at a funeral service. I feel like standing up going, Sadhu, 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 my mother has died, Sadhu. Because she's ended a very good life. See if you can change your attitude. Well, how can I make sure I remember the instructions without responding in my usual way? You don't have to make sure. I call this brainwashing. I brainwashed you. You've been sitting attentively for almost 2 days. And what I've said, I've got into your heads. This is a cult of Ajahn Brahm. And I say that because that happened to me with Ajahn Chah. I thought I was just listening to the talks. And then later on, I started to say things and do things. Where did that come from? I realized Ajahn Chah. The way I meditated. Did I choose to meditate that way? No, it's Ajahn Chah. There's all these instructions, just like I was saying about let's build a hut on the hill over there. They get inside of you. They change the way you look at life, especially meditation. It's too late, I'm sorry. The instructions are in there. How come a Buddhist is still able to be charmed by black magic? How to help a person concerned to overcome. If you keep 5 precepts, you cannot be charmed by black magic. 5 precepts protect you. You've got to keep those 5 precepts. If you're naughty, there's going to be a white lie now and again. Well, I've got a little mysteries, but everybody does it. That's breaking the precepts. Just a little bit of beer, a little bit of wine for social. That's breaking the precepts. You have to be very good in your precepts, and then black magic can't get to you. You're too powerful. Actually, somebody put some black magic on me. It was when I was in London. True. They gave me this little gift. There's black magic chocolates, which they gave to me. They put black magic on me. Remember black magic chocolates? Yeah, the dark chocolate's black magic. So they gave me black magic chocolates. That's the only black magic which I've ever received. There's Cadbury's chocolates, chocolates, you know black magic? It's a brand of chocolates you get in the UK. Okay, never mind. Due to some unforeseen problem, someone I treated with respect and a very kind person decides to stop all communications and contact with me. Woohoo! One less person you have to email. Not even as a normal friend, I feel very painful and lots of self-guilt. No, you're free! You did nothing wrong. Why do people feel guilty when they've done nothing wrong? Good question. You've done nothing wrong, but you still follow what other people think about you. Other people don't know who you are or what you did. So how can you trust other people to say you're bad or you're good? There's only one person in this world who knows if you're good or bad, and that's you. So don't let what other people say or do affect you. If you've done something wrong, you know you're guilty, fine. But just forgive yourself, move on. But don't trust or listen to what other people say about you. I don't know why people feel guilty like that. So they've done nothing wrong, you've done nothing wrong. So let it go. I want to talk to the friend, but he refuses. This makes me feel lots of self-guilt and miserable. I try to let go and move on, but it's difficult to control my emotions as I value the friendship. What should I do? I'm depressed as a result. There's so many other people you could befriend. So, just that rubbish stuff, if he just misunderstands you, doesn't value you, he doesn't deserve your friendship. So you go and find other friends. There's so many other good friends around. Make friends here. There's a nice thing about going to a temple. You're supposed to keep noble silence, but you don't. And I'm very happy you don't, because you meet people, you talk to people, you enjoy the same things, you enjoy meditation, you enjoy listening to Ajahn Brahm, whatever it is. It's amazing, in my temple in Perth, sometimes I don't know whether it's a Buddhist centre or a singles club. I don't know how many people have met their life partner in the temple. And they get married there. The reason is because they meet people, they've got similar interests, they're going a similar path, they like each other, and if you come to the temple long enough, they know this girl has got Ajahn Brahm's stamp of approval, this guy, Ajahn Brahm's got his job, he must be a good guy, he's come to the temple, he's been trained by Ajahn Brahm. And to be honest with you, the boys who are the most sought after amongst the girls in my temple are those who are ex-monks. If a monk disrobes, the girls, they try and catch him as soon as possible. Because he is the best man you can get. He's been trained personally by me for 2 or 3 years. And the girls who get these boys and marry them, they come and say, thank you so much, Ajahn Brahm. You know, you trained this boy, now he's my husband, he used to be your monk. He's such a wonderful guy. And they do, ex-monks under Ajahn Brahm. They make incredibly good, sensitive, kind husbands. But the next time someone disrobes, line up. These are really top-class guys. And the girls, thank you, Ajahn Brahm, for training my husband. Really funny, it's true. Okay, last question we have, photo. When I close my eyes during meditation, I see not darkness but light. As when at the break of dawn, some patches of grey are interspersed among the light and are changing constantly. I find this scene helpful for focusing my mind. Am I doing the right thing? It's okay to use that to focus your mind at the beginning, but those aren't limiters. The limiters come much later on in the meditation. It's just a useful technique. So fine, do it, but the light won't last that long. Okay, it's now 3 o'clock, so we're going to go out and have a photo. Is it all you set up yet? All ready to go? Okay, so please don't go to the toilet yet. Otherwise we all have to wait for you. So please go out. Everyone wants to be in the photo. And we only have 1 camera. So all your cameras, don't give to the photographer. You can get a copy and email it to you later on. Otherwise 50 cameras take forever. Okay. So, photo!